G'day viewers, how's it going out there? I hope you are well. God bless you and your family. I just had a quick dream that I had recently, which I wanted to share with you and do an interpretation of it. It's a fairly simple one and fairly easy to interpret, I believe. So basically, in the dream, I saw basically there were two people in a pitched battle with each other. So quite savage battle. They were going at each other with, weapons, basically. Um, I remember one of them wielding an axe in the dream, and it was quite a savage battle, a battle of life and death, struggle. Um, and I was sort of watching it as an onlooker from the outside perspective. But then, as I watched the struggle play out, it seemed to turn in a different direction. It was as though I was looking down a long corridor at this battle that was going on, and as I said, one of the combatants was holding an axe, and I was just going about my normal daily routine as I do, and I was just out in my yard, or at least I was holding a pair of hedge trimmers. That's what I distinctly remember. And then one of these combatants that was holding the axe turned and looked down the corridor, and he could see me. And then, for whatever reason, his focus seemed to change from the person or people that he was fighting against towards me. And he threw this axe, threw it down the corridor towards me. And the only way I could defend myself, which was to raise my hedge trimmers, which are very strange and, not really something designed as a weapon at all. So I just picked up my hedge trimmers and used them to fend off the attack of the axe, because that's all I had. And then the dream abruptly ended. So when I woke up, I thought, wow, that was an interesting dream, a bit strange. But there was a fairly strong emotional aspect to it, it was quite terrifying watching these combatants fighting each other. And then to see their focus change and to direct their attention towards me was even more terrifying. And it was strange that I was, holding a pair of hedge trimmers when they were fighting it out with axes and other weapons. So I thought, okay, after I thought about this dream, I pondered and I believe I've arrived at a pretty good interpretation of it. It seems to be a fairly simple dream, if I reflect upon it in terms of world events that are happening at the moment around us. Obviously, there are a number of wars going on at the moment. One of them is in Ukraine, between Russia and the Ukraine. The other one is obviously the one in the Middle East between Israel and the Palestinians. And there's even a third one that's opening up now between the US and Yemen. So, on a side note, it seems as though the proxy war has become a tit for tat. It seemed as though, the Western allies, or the Western powers that have aligned themselves or have historically been aligned with Israel, and also perhaps more recently have aligned themselves with the Ukraine, have been waging pretty much a proxy war, pretty much with Russia and Iran. They're the two big powers behind, these proxy wars. So it's kind of like the Western Alliance versus the I don't know, the Russia-Iranian alliance at the moment. So, and the proxy players are like uh, basically Ukraine, you know, is the proxy for the Western alliance, and basically Israel is the other proxy for the Western alliance, and on the other side, seems as though Russia and Iran have decided, okay, well, if the West are going to use, this to wage a proxy war, why don't we do something similar to that and create our own proxy war against the Western Alliance? And that seems to have eventuated in the recent confrontation, which is between the Houthis out of Yemen and the US. So an Iranian proxy. So Iran's proxy is the Houthis in Yemen, and they're being used now by Iran to fight a battle against the West. So it's a bit of a tit for tat thing. But obviously, at the end of the day, these kind of indirect proxy wars can't go on forever, and at some point, there's going to be a more direct confrontation. And this, I believe, is the basic interpretation of my dream. So you've got combatants going at each other, off in the distance, but eventually their focus is going to turn to the West more directly. So although we're sitting back here in the West thinking, these things are going on overseas and they're not really directly affecting us, we can go about our normal lives, mowing our lawns, trimming our hedges, living our day-to-day lives as if nothing has changed, as if we're watching a bit of a reality TV show about what's going on with the battles and the wars overseas. But I think realistically we need to snap out of that and start realizing we're in a situation at the moment that is effectively a third world war raging around us. Some people say history doesn't repeat, but I can't agree with that. I mean, this new war that's happening at the moment with with the Houthis attacking ships, in the Red Sea and down through the Suez Canal and places like that. That to me, from what I know from the history, basically is very much the same thing that happened during the First World War. I mean, the First World War kind of had a focal point, around those shipping lanes as well. My ancestors, who were involved in the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, the Anzacs, they went over to that region, the Dardanelles, as it was known then, and were in a pitched battle against Turkey, and it was basically the same thing. It's basically protecting, or trying to gain a foothold to protect those shipping lanes. So yeah, history does repeat itself, and it is repeating itself. At the moment, it's back to that First World War scenario already. So history does repeat, and it's just a matter of time, before there's going to be a major confrontation between the major players here. And I think that is basically the interpretation that I would give my dream, that we're heading towards a situation of direct confrontation, although at the moment we're sitting on the sidelines, doing our day-to-day mundane things. We're not really being prepared enough. We're not prepared enough. They're in a pitched battle with each other, going at each other with, knives and axes, and we're standing on the sidelines with a pair of hedge trimmers, worrying about keeping house and, you know, making our home lives tidy and happy, when we should really be more in a preparation for war stance. I think realistically that is what my dream is suggesting. Yeah, we need to be in more of a preparation for war stance at the moment, and not just about housekeeping, not just, you know, mundane housekeeping. Uh, you know, I'm not saying that our leaders should suddenly don, um, you know, Antron caps and start doing goose steps or anything like that, but yeah, they really need to start seriously considering uh, more major preparations, more serious major preparations for a direct confrontation, and one that's going to bring the battle to us directly. Yeah, I'm not trying to frighten people or anything. I just think it's better to be prepared than not prepared. Um, and we're at the point where uh, we're going to have to. Otherwise, we're going to be caught with our hedge trimmers, and it's not going to be good enough. All right, guys. So God bless. Talk to you again later.